that's just a part of life. That is a phrase that I kind of feel like is being abused nowadays, just because of the way that we're taking a different approach on life because of this. Um, it says that's just a part of life. What that really means is that life is full of cursedness and sorrow and pain, and that's just a part of it. And there's also good parts to it, which you're like, you get a raise, or you don't have to work anymore. You can do what you actually love, or finding your passion. That's all a part of life, and it's okay to not be where you want to be at right now, but you can't be content with it. And really, like with life, and just how, I guess, precious it is. I feel like that's kind of an overburned statement, but life is really precious when you come down to the brass tacks of really just what all you can do, but how much time you're given. Because today or tomorrow is not promised, and today, you have today to make something change, and the sooner you make that change, the better. Um, I think we all know what the change is that we need in our life. We're missing something, or we're not doing enough of something, or, we're not trusting God with His promises. And I think that just saying it's a part of life isn't really fair to life itself, because, everybody gives life a bad rap. I want to end it all. Like, it's not where it should be. And I think it's our perspective on that is we're not really grasping the concept of how beautiful life is. With that being said, I want to get into the opposite, which is that's a part of death. Because I think what life is Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. He said, I am the life. I am life. So if Jesus is the embodiment of life, then what's with all this like sorrow, all this pain and misery that we have? This dude does miracles, and we're gonna say that, he we're gonna say that he doesn't bring like a fruitful anything. And I think it's kind of wrong in just the way that we're starting to view life itself. I think it's a part of death. And the reason I say that is because when we think about like the suffering that we go through, it's not really a blessing. It's a curse. It's a curse that we have to endure because that's just the world that we live in. But when you start to think about it as, oh, it's just a part of death, because death is a curse. Sickness and disease and just anything away from being well, it's pretty bad. It's definitely like a curse type of feel whenever you think about all the suffering people go through, whether they're homeless, or they just lost their kid or lost their car. I mean, any big tragedy, you don't think, oh, that's how life is treating me right now. You gotta say, no, that's how death is treating the world, because it's not just you who suffers. Once I understood that, I was like, I thought my life was bad, and then I come like on Instagram Reels and I see like these little kids, bro, be working for like the age of 3 until they're probably, I don't know, like at least 80, 70 or 80, because all they understand is work and just to barely make it by and to just get a living, and like labor, instead of actually trying to explore more options. They're kind of closed-minded, and it may not be like that for everybody, but I think for the most part we're starting to become content with the ordinary, and you have to appreciate what's unordinary. That right there, because like I said, um embracing the unknown is really going to push you to try newer, better things. And to be honest, embracing like what you do not know kind of it gives a better like lens and perspective on what we don't know is going to happen. But you don't want to just be clueless, you know. You want to be up to date with the news, or it doesn't have to be the news, but just certain things, you know, that would kind of affect you and bring you up to date with just what's happening and how it could benefit you or treat you harmly, or treat you wrong. But aside from that, you know, embracing the unknown, it's really just looking at life through a new lens and saying, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm here for the ride and I'm excited to see what life has to offer. Because I think we get scared of life because maybe we see other people's lives, we compare it and be like, well, I'm doing better or I'm doing worse, I need to catch up, or I can chill because, you know, I'm already up. You know, it can really sneak up on you, that mentality, and kind of just wreck your whole, I guess, the next trajectory of your life. And I think it's like a little voice in there, and he's trying to tell you, like, yo, we got to be more aware of what we're doing. Especially when we make a mistake or we get hung up on a fact for too long and kind of lose ourselves into it. I think that's when that little voice starts to get more prominent, and it's like, yo, we need to chill out and we need to find how to benefit ourselves before we risk it all again. Um, you know, maybe you went all in on your business, or you dropped out of school because there's better opportunity somewhere. No matter what it is, you know, listen to the little voice, because that little guy has some wisdom. But you should pray about it too and make sure that the decision that you're making is going to, or is in line within God, and to make sure that, you know, His plan is being done rather than our own. Because, you know, it may not seem like it in the moment, but you give it a little bit of like retrospective, or I guess, yeah, in retrospect, you can see how different life occurred because of just following the voice, just following that little spirit, or whoever it may be you, you know, or maybe God talking to you, and, you know, He can really only do that through the Spirit. So, listen to it, because you can listen to 99.99% of everything else around you, and it won't benefit you. A good way I like to think about it is to try to listen to somebody whose shoes you want to be in, you know, who you want to swap lives with. And I don't particularly know if I would want to swap lives with God, just because, you know, that dude's running the whole, like, globe. Like, the whole ecosystem. And I out here planting a sweet potato, dude, and it's, like, already yellow. It's not even green and healthy anymore. Which is actually a part of death. So, we see it all around us. We see how death affects us. We see how life affects us. We see things that we eat that probably aren't going to bring a good health benefit towards us. But then we see something like a mango or raspberry, and we're like, wow, I bet that would cure whatever I have going on. Whether it's like, you know, a little cold, or you just cannot use the restroom. Dude, some fruit will set you up, promise you. And then when you look at other things like the snacks we have, and you look at like the nutritional value, dude, it's all just flour and corn syrup. And that's it. It's like the main two ingredients. Maybe water, you know? But other than that, maybe some preservatives and some artificial dyes that we love to see in our everyday to day foods that are being handled. But you know what it is that you're struggling with or that you need help with. And I think that just changing the lens, getting a new perspective, that's actually going to be a different video, but you should try to look at certain phrases, whatever it may be. You know, it doesn't really have to be anything like, I guess, all jaw dropping, but find a phrase and think about why we say the things we do. And then once you've done that, just try to understand, how did we get to this conclusion? When we get to whatever it may be, that's just how the way we've accepted it, and accepted certain concepts or grasp of how life is supposed to operate. Once we see where we came accustomed to that and how it actually can limit us, I think, walking through those doors, those unopened doors, you have to embrace the unknown. And that is a little intimidating for sure. You gain like a whole new appreciation towards life and all that it has to offer. So really just being able to nail down like the concepts of how we can view and shift our perspectives on life and death, like those are two separate things, and I think that's something kind of get mixed up. But when you dissect those two, differentiate them, and understand that one is good, one is bad, one is a blessing, one is a curse, and we're just on this earth because I guess this earth offers both of the scenarios. It just depends on which one that you pick. So with that being said, I hope that you understand where I'm coming from, what I'm trying to say. Really the concepts in life that we take for granted, or just life in general. We take life for granted and we start doing dumb things that aren't gonna build us a better future or provide us better outcome in the future. And I guess just not investing time where it should be spent. Like I had a video posted last week about don't waste attention, and I think it kind of falls in line with this just a bit. It's kind of eye-opening whenever you see how we kind of just throw away our attention on everything, and it's wasting our life, and our fruit is going to be death because we're not doing anything fruitful with the time that we were given. So just try to do more things that you like to do. Get off your phone, get off your butt, and just start doing some stuff, whatever it may be, whether it's making videos, making a business, grooming your dog, or pet shaving, or shaving your pet, I guess, or going to get a haircut. Things that benefit you want to learn more about, like the different kinds of haircuts, or different types of fruit, mushroom, paintings, cars. Research things. Just start getting interested into things that have like life in them, or what it seems like has life in them. You bring a painting to life, a car, when you turn it on, it goes super loud. Or for your work, maybe you could be looking at a fan and trying to see how to make the fan work better. Or if you put ice cubes in like the little cooling tray, it doesn't make it cooler. Could you make it automatic to where it's like ice, it's like an ice maker, but it's making the fan cooler at the same time? Whatever it is, just start researching, start looking at new things to do, new ideas to grasp on and think about, and just get off your phone, bro. Honestly, it's gonna steal all your attention, steal all your time, your effort. It's gonna make you closed-minded. And I'm I have a phone. I don't use it that much unless I'm really playing Clash Royale, but that's only when I go use the restroom. So anyways, you take care, you have a good one. I will see you next video. Yeah, peace.
Like that, living like you're so carefree. I don't wanna talk right now. Why you gotta be like that? Maybe you just haven't met me. Let me introduce myself.